Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. I want to talk about discipline. I want to talk about practicing a specific behavior and sticking to it. So, when you get up every day, you know to brush your teeth, you know to clean yourself up, and you know that this is the way I'm going to carry myself every day when I'm in school, when I'm at work. This is the way I handle myself. And you've practiced that throughout the course of your life. And that's the discipline that you have, where you don't come to work looking crazy. You don't come to school looking crazy. You've practiced that now. That's a way of life for you. That's a habit now. So when I think about being disciplined, it helps you become successful. That's the difference in this Minnesota series. That's an undisciplined unit. Well, OG, what do you mean undisciplined? These last two games that they've played, they've gone into the fourth quarter with leads. Game 3, they had them down 26. So we obviously have the game plan to not just put them in the hole, to keep them in the hole. The question is how can we finish this? Well, by staying disciplined. Whatever we did to get here, stick to that because it's obviously working. And that's what's thrown Minnesota off the track this entire series. They've been undisciplined. D'Angelo Russell has to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. We'll start there. I can appreciate, he only had 4 turnovers. Yeah, but when the turnovers come. Turning the basketball over during a run when you're trying to get back in the game or we're in the meat and potatoes of the game. Those are big turnovers because those things shift momentum. Doing a better job in taking care of the basketball. Making the right plays. The third quarter was a prime example of what I mean when I say discipline. They held Memphis to 21 points. 21 points. 0 for 8 on the long ball. Shut the door on them in the third quarter. Got a double-digit lead going into the fourth. Finish it. You obviously gotten yourself here by being disciplined. Stay disciplined and finish it. What were they doing to slow Ja down? Keeping Ja in front of them. Patrick Beverly did a good job of keeping Ja in front of him early. We're playing drop coverage on screens with Ja, and we'll eat the long ball with him. Absolutely we will. No doubt about it. We'll eat the long ball with him. They completely went away from that in the fourth quarter. Whenever Ja went to the basket, it didn't look nearly as difficult in the fourth quarter as it did in the first and second quarter when they were throwing bodies at him. Karl Anthony Towns cannot have Brandon Clark play him to a tie. He was the difference in the game last night. In addition to Ja going 18 in the fourth quarter, this is now just not only a battle of discipline, but this is also a battle of wits. My best player is better than your best player. Cat goes 5 for 7 on the long ball. 4 of those threes were shot in the fourth quarter. When I got Brooks on me. Not Brandon Clark. When I got Brooks on me, who's 6'7", and he's pushing me 17, 18 feet away from the box. That's unacceptable. Now, I understand the Cat may be more of a finesse big man, but at some point, when you got a smaller guy on you, you have to punish him. You have to punish him. And for Cat to shoot he shot 4 shots. He shot 6 shots in the fourth quarter. 4 of those shots were long balls. Nothing around the basket. No second chance points, offensive rebounding, anything like that. And since we're on the subject of offensive rebounding, Brandon Clark, 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. That was the difference in the game. I'm not as good as you, but I'm going to outwork you. And I know that you're going to fold, which is exactly what Minnesota did, which is where the discipline comes in. That's an undisciplined unit. And where does that start? I think that starts at the top with their coach. That starts at the top with their coach, and it moves over to their leader in Cat. We're an undisciplined unit, which would explain why we can't hold on to leads. Because we've obviously been able to throw them in the hole. Obviously, we've been able to do that. The question is why can't we keep them in the hole? Because we're undisciplined. That's the problem right there. And you can even, I'll even go as far as to say we're soft. To watch Brandon Clark completely outwork Cat on the backboard in the fourth quarter is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about being disciplined. You were disciplined in the first quarter. You were disciplined in the third quarter, rebounding the basketball. What happened in the fourth quarter? Did you run out of gas? I don't think you ran out of gas. I just think that you were undisciplined because you had enough gas to shoot the basketball. You absolutely did that, but you didn't have enough gas to rebound. This series, I do think it's going to come back to Memphis for Game 7. I think that they're going to do a better job in Game 6 because, once again, Memphis is banking on you guys folding up in the fourth quarter. That's what they're banking on. They're going to let us back in the game. And they're going to let us back in the game because they're not disciplined. For that reason and that reason only. Not because we're that much better than them physically. No, they're not disciplined. They're not disciplined at all. I got everything that I needed to get out of my dirty work guys. Vanderbilt, Beasley, Taurean Prince, Pat Beverly. They give me what I need from them in terms of dirty work, effort. I get what I need from them. The difference in this series is my leader. And my leader is Karl Anthony Towns, who's gotten outworked in the fourth quarter. In this game in particular, the third quarter in both these games, Game 4 and Game 5, you've held Memphis 2 for 15 on the long ball. So you're doing a great job in covering the long ball. The problem that we're having is that in the fourth quarter that you don't get on the backboard and you don't limit second chance opportunities. Meanwhile, they're limiting your second chance opportunities. That's where the discipline comes in. Absolutely it is. I think this series comes back to Memphis for Game 7. I had Memphis winning this series in 6, but I do think it comes back to Memphis for Game 7, and I think that they end it because I think that Minnesota is an undisciplined unit, and I think that's the difference. I wonder who Cat is. Is he Kevin Love? Is he Chris Bosh? Is he the third best player on a championship team? Is he the second best player on a really good playoff team? Who is Cat exactly? I'm still battling with that. And since we're on the subject of battling, I thought the Miami Heat did a great job in handling Trae Young and how they sped him up. And how did they speed him up? Trae Young already plays fast as it is. That's who he is. He's a fast twitch guy. He plays fast. But when you force him into mistakes, he tries to make up for those mistakes, which speeds him up and makes him play even faster. So what did Miami do to make him do that? Well, Gabe Vincent did a great job in picking him up 80 to 90 feet away from the basket. And getting that, the same thing that Drew Holiday did last year with Chris Paul. We're trying to speed him up and getting him cross half court where now the shot clock is at 12. They're starting their offense at 12 seconds. They're starting their offense at 13 seconds. And now he's got to go. And this is the same situation where he's turned the ball over two or three times. So now he's sped up even more. And then when you have guys switching on to him, pushing him away from the basket, you completely throw him off of his game, which is what Miami has done. I thought Spo did a great job. I thought Coach Spoelstra did a great job in his rotations and keeping Strauss in and out of the lineup. Getting Victor Oladipo more minutes. I thought that he did a really good job in that and adding him to the rotation. And I think Oladipo is going to be big for him in the next series. Bam, who I'm a huge fan of, Bam picked up his game tremendously, especially without buckets, without Kyle Lowry being in the lineup. He picked up his game. Bam's game is energy, and Bam could just be so much better. Bam will be so much better in the mid-range. Once he has that confidence to do that more, he'll be so much better. I just thought that they did a good job of outworking Atlanta. And that was the difference in this series. They definitely made quick work of them. Definitely made quick work of them and defended them as well as I could see anybody defend it. And since we're on the subject of defense, you have to understand when you have a game plan and the game plan consists of this one guy doing one thing, and that one guy is now out, you have to completely revamp your game plan offensively. So where Phoenix has a guy in Book who's 26 a game, Book is now out of the lineup. Now I know you hear the cliche of, next man up. Well, once again, I can't reiterate this to you guys enough. There's a reason why you play behind this dude, because you're not as good. Now there are a lot of people who will say, Manu Ginobili this and Lemon Pepper Lou that, and Jamal Crawford, right? But the majority of the time, the guy playing behind you is not nearly as good. So now we have to revamp our offense. And how do we revamp our offense? Well, now Ayton has to be more of a rim runner. We got to go to Ayton more, which Chris Paul is one of the smartest point guards that I've ever seen, which he recognizes that. Not only do we have to go to Ayton more, we're relying now more on Chris Paul offensively. And Chris Paul knows that, well, what I can't do is, because Book is out of the lineup, I can't speed my offense up. Because if I speed my offense up, now what that does is that makes us prone to more mistakes. I'm the primary ball handler. That can't happen with me. So I got to keep my offense and I got to keep my game under wraps. And I got to keep my game under control, which he does that. He absolutely does that. And he did that effectively yesterday. But I think the key in the game yesterday was Mikal Bridges. I've said this in the past, and I stand on it. Mikal Bridges reminds me of Eddie Jones when I watch him. He reminds me of how Eddie Jones was. I don't think he's the athlete that Eddie was, but defensively, wiry, how he keeps his hands busy, how he does his best to keep guys in front of you, how he does his best to keep guys in front of him and force these guys into tough shots. I think he's phenomenal in that. I mean, we're talking about a guy in Brandon Ingram who's a scoring machine. I think he's second in the playoffs in scoring right now. And CJ McCollum, if I'm not mistaken, those guys were 2 for 14 when Bridges covered them. And that's primarily due to the fact that I'm going to make this difficult on you. I'm going to force you into doing what you don't want to do. Even though CJ McCollum is the consummate pro, and CJ McCollum is one of those guys who doesn't get sped up. Not only does he not get sped up, he's not going to do anything that he doesn't know how to do. And I thought Mikal Bridges did a good job in forcing him into tough shots. I thought this series was going to be a ho-hum 4 or 5 game series. I still think that Phoenix is going to win the series. It just looks like it's going to be a 6 game series now. Maybe 7. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix ended it tomorrow night. But Brandon Ingram's got to do a better job than what he did. I mean, 1 point in the fourth quarter, not making any shots, going 0 for 4. This is what I mean when I talk about a guy in Mikal Bridges doing what he did and doing the great job on him. This first round of these playoff series has been absolutely awesome. You guys know how I feel about Valanciunas. I absolutely love Valanciunas. He's done so much for that New Orleans team, and I wasn't big on him being in New Orleans. I wasn't. I thought that he was down there wasting away. But I'm looking at this group and I'm thinking, man, if they had Zion, how much better would they be? How much would that open up Valanciunas' game and make him more effective? So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Zion in the future. I know that they're not going to have him in these playoffs, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him in the future. So these playoffs have been awesome, and we're going to keep doing this. So as long as you guys want me around, I'll be around. So until then, take it light, but take it.